Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with a Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers Show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza.
With the corn as high as a clergyman's eye, it's your host, SteelFlyers.
Thank you, that is a delightful co-host, Ronies.
Steelers' final cuts and the 53-man roster is out.
The Boilermakers and the Lions, oh my, first game of the season about to kick off.
After the summer break, F1 is at Spa.
Oh boy, and folks, look, well, we got a bunch of stuff to get into.
Okay.
So, first of all, we would like to come right out and say thank you to Spreaker.
Yes.
For all your great help in getting us out there on all the great podcasting platforms. All you have to do is go to your favorite podcasting platform, type in SteelFlyers Podcast on your favorite device or computer, and we will come up and you'll be able to click on the latest episodes and catch us. Thank you very much for checking us out. Our delightful and lovely co-host, Ronice, is in the house.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Well, we ain't over yet, but yeah. How you doing?
Okay.
Awesome sauce.
Getting ready for football.
Are you ready for some football?
You're infringing on some trademarks there.
But I didn't say anything other than that.
Well.
And I didn't have a country twang or nothing either.
A lot of people have actually sang that song.
So, anyway. Are you ready for some football? Speaking of, are you ready for some football? So, one of the things that we do want to talk about is, of course, the 53-man roster is out for the Pittsburgh Steelers with the conclusion of the final preseason game this past weekend and the opening game against the Patriots. We will get into that and some of the predictions and some other things, too.
Okay.
That I'd like to get into a little bit too. But the first thing on the docket is coming up here in the very near future, and that is Penn State at Purdue Boilermakers.
On a Thursday night.
On an opening Thursday night in week 0, I guess they call it week 0.
Week 0? All right.
Yeah, and whatever. And so, nothing like opening up on a Thursday night, prime time.
Right. I mean, that's a good spot.
Against a Big Ten team. I mean, that is just unheard of in Penn State lore because usually...
Well, they're not ranked at all this year so
That's
far.
the other thing, too, that I want to touch on a little bit, too. So, getting a little bit ahead of me. But, yeah, the fact that Penn State is for one of the few times in the last few years where Penn State's coming out... at the beginning of the season, unranked.
Right. I mean,
okay.
Not even, close.
Not even in the top 25.
Right.
And I think this is the second or third time in the Franklin era.
Really?
Of them coming out unranked.
Okay.
Or very, very poorly ranked, lower than the top 20.
Well, you only can go up now, right?
So, right. So, I am so in favor of doing that. Because every single time, for the most part, when the pundits or the whatever ranks Penn State out of the gate,
right,
that puts too much pressure on them to maintain.
They can't keep up with that.
Well, yeah, because you have to, number one, you have to win just to keep that ranking.
Yeah.
If you don't win, you lose that ranking.
Right off.
Right? You know what I mean? So that's why it's I'm really glad that they're unranked.
Gives them a chance to...
Can't go anywhere but up.
Right.
And they're going to play some ranked teams this year.
Some pretty tough teams, actually.
Some pretty tough teams. I mean, it's not their toughest schedule by far, but...
Well, you have Northwestern, which is a pretty good team, right?
So to open up against the Big Ten is one of the things that is unheard of. Usually we would open up against the next team, which is Akron of Ohio.
Okay.
that would normally be the opening week.
Gotcha.
Right? Then the second week might be a Big Ten. Usually that's reserved for third week.
After they've had a couple of weeks to
play the other non-conference, quote-unquote, non-conference games.
Get them a little warmed up.
Get them a little greased up a little bit, whatever you want to call it. And so at Purdue, opening game on one of the major networks. And then the very following game is Akron of Ohio. That is at Beaver Stadium. Okay, that's a 12 o'clock game. And then the next game is at Auburn. Okay. And depending on how... I'm not sure, but I don't think really Auburn is ranked just yet, or they might be in the... you know what I mean? We'll have to get our crack research staff to see where Auburn is ranked for this year out of the gates. But we're talking about the third game of the season, so rankings might be different by then.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah, they're not ranked.
Okay, so there you go. And then the next game after that, Central Michigan. And then you got the Northwestern. That's the October 1st game. Then you got the next game. That's October 15th at the Big House, Michigan. Ew. They're ranked 8th right now.
I have made a mistake. They're ranked 21.
Okay, Auburn is ranked 21? Yeah, okay, so that's another ranked team.
List.
Yeah, that's another ranked team, Auburn. And Auburn's usually, traditionally, we've played bowl games against them.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah. Northwestern, going to be a pretty tough road to hoe as well. They're usually a pretty tough team. We're playing that at home. Central Michigan is at home, and then Northwestern's at home, and then the October 15th game is at Michigan. They're currently ranked 8th right now. That's going to be
a tough one.
And like then you come said,
rankings might be different, but Michigan's always really tough.
And they got pretty much a good amount of guys back from previous, and Harbaugh's going to have them guys pretty much ready to go, and they have gotten better over the last couple of years. Okay, so they're on the rise.
Gotcha.
Obviously, they're ranked 8th.
Right, obviously. Top 10 is pretty good.
Exactly. Then the next game is Minnesota. And then Ohio State comes into town, and they're ranked number 2.
Yay.
And then at Indiana, that's another Big Ten. And then home against Maryland, at Rutgers, and then home to Michigan State, which they're currently ranked 15th as well. So not necessarily the easiest schedule, but not necessarily the hardest.
Right in the middle.
I mean, it's kind of, there's a little meat to it, because you got at least Auburn's ranked.
Right,
and at least Michigan's ranked, and Ohio State's ranked, and so is Michigan State.
Right.
So that's 4 teams that are at least ranked.
That's, what, a third of the season?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have a chance to do well if they can, pick up the first couple of games, maybe, and, really...
That's really going to be the deciding factor. If Penn State can have a winning record after the first 5 games...
They should.
You know what I mean? And I'm trying to see when their bye week is. Nope, that's a week away. That's 7 days. There it is.
Where's that?
So their bye week is after the Michigan game, between the Michigan and the Minnesota game.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay, so there's 2-week gap there.
Gotcha.
So that's pretty near about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right in the middle.
That's 6 games in, and then the bye week, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they play 12 games.
Right.
So, not, like I said, not the hardest schedule, but not the toughest schedule, about pretty much right in the middle. A little bit of fluff, a little bit of meat.
Right.
A little bit of toughness, and
it'll be a good season.
A little bit, it's. We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
I have hope.
I do too, because they weren't that bad last year. I mean, when they were 7-5, they went to a bowl game. I mean, 7-5, whatever. But they did lose a couple guys to the draft this past year as well too.
Yeah.
So it's this might be a bit of a different sledding this year. Do you know what I mean? Top receiver went away.
They're rebuilding almost a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. Defense, okay. Some guys on defense went away, and especially on the defensive line.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Penn State comes out and how they play, especially against the first. Gosh, I would say Purdue is a great test right out of the gate, and then you got Ohio, and then you got at Auburn, and then you got Central Michigan, and then Northwestern before you face against.
Right. So
Auburn's the toughest team that you're going to face
in the first 5 games.
First 4 games. Games. Yeah, first 5 games.
Okay.
First 5 games.
Well, the only ranked one at least.
Yes, the only ranked one. Exactly. So, but still, so that like I said, a little bit of meat, a little bit of fluff, and a little bit of adversity and a little bit of toughness and a little bit of, you know what I mean, and.
Okay, so football.
I will just stay right on football while we're at it.
We'll just go a little bit west.
We'll just go a little bit west. And by going a little bit west, we're talking about mine and yours, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
And I have a list.
I have to say that it will always be Heinz Stadium.
Okay, well, so this is coming from somebody who remembers nothing but Three Rivers Stadium. And then on their birthday, watched it get imploded.
Aww.
Well, what? Anyway, so... Hey, here's a great birthday present. Somebody sent that to me and said, yeah, watch the stadium implode. Great, thanks. Appreciate that. Way to go. Anyway... So, I've been to that stadium. I've been to Three Rivers. And then we've been to, the current stadium.
Yes. The
Acusure. Yes. I have to agree. I think I'm still going to call it Heinz Field.
They really lost a lot of... I mean, they could have called it, like... Heinz Field, brought to you by Acusure, or something ridiculous.
Or Acusure's Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Or something,
like a Ruth Chris kind of situation where it's.
Yeah, there you go.
Chris is registered.
Right. Yeah,
the whole story of that is so funny.
Or build a little retractable roof that has the name Acusure across the top. I mean, you got they removed the ketchup bottles.
No.
Yeah.
That's part of the experience, man.
Yeah, they removed. In fact, within
hours, they were going to leave them.
They have one left. I believe they have one left, and they're still going to call it the Heinz Red Zone. They struck a deal.
Okay.
At the last minute, quote unquote, with Heinz Foods or Kraft Foods or whatever.
What are they going to have up there when they score a touchdown? A little needle pushing... No, never mind. Because it's a health insurance company, so...
Oh, the new stadium name is Acusure.
I think it's a bank, actually, so I'm not sure. What is Acusure?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's something based out of Central Michigan is all I know. I think it's insurance.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's insurance. Hey, all right, it's insurance. All right. It's not even from Pennsylvania. It's from Central Michigan.
A global fintech leader, Acusure provides customers with intelligence-driven financial services.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's the new sponsor name of the field. And quite frankly, I don't even think I could call it Heinz Field. I think you'd have to call it the field that Ben built.
No. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
I mean, seriously, he pretty much came in, there was a new stadium, and bang, there was Ben. He's been there pretty much since.
Right.
I mean, what?
Yeah, so they're... Is anybody ever going to really associate the name Acusure with football? Really? I mean...
Or the Steelers?
The Steelers. Like the Wells Fargo Center for the Flyers. You actually associate that with the Flyers now, right?
Well, it's better than being the First Union Center.
Well... I mean, after a while, it's going to grow on people, I guess. I don't know.
Like I said, it's better than being called the First Union.
Okay.
Well, that's what it was called, and that was one of the main sponsor names. And yeah, that just didn't wash real well. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm using my imagination too much.
All right, so we're off on a tangent again.
What? Us off on a tangent? Anyway, smack! Back onto the Steelers. And so... The final preseason game has been played and won, barely. That was some sloppy-looking football.
Well, I mean, it's the last preseason game, and
okay.
Nobody's putting forth their full effort, and...
I'm not buying that for one little lick.
Okay. That's kind of how I always look at it.
No. See, I'm... Okay. So, this is the last game, the last preseason game. So, if you haven't decided on who your starter is by now...
I think they've decided. I think they're just trying to get reps in for some people. Because this might be,
That's what they should be doing.
Okay.
Okay, but instead they got T.J. Watt out there getting hurt.
Right.
Dante Johnson out there getting hurt. Najee Harris out there, who didn't get hurt, but was out there. You know what I mean? If your starting quarterback is already picked...
Why are you doing that?
Why are you letting him play almost an entire half of football?
I was wondering about TJ if he was out on the field, because I didn't get to see much of the game. I wasn't watching it. Okay. But let me ask you this question. So did they have TJ on the field with different players to see who worked better with him? Was that maybe one of the reasons he was out there to get the defense kind of supporting him, or, finding what system, not system, but you know what I mean? Like, who would be the better, player?
I imagine there's probably some of that going on.
Okay.
But he hasn't really played a lot in the preseason, and I mean, honestly, does he really need to?
No, he doesn't need to, but he does in a way that he needs to get back into game mode, and the only way to do that is by playing a game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can't go in the first game and not have any warm-up.
So you let them guys. That's why the second preseason game is usually, or should be, the game where most of your starters get most of the reps, play the first half. And then after that, then you get the second, third, fourth string people in for the second half. Then the last game of the season should be all straight second, third, fourth string people straight out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to sit Chase Claypool, then why aren't you sitting T.J. Watt?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? If you're going to sit this player, then why aren't you sitting that player? I mean, I understand that guys get ready for the season at different ways and different levels and all that other kind of stuff, but the fact that you're risking players in an insignificant preseason game, that if you would have given them the reps in the game before, and if you give them all the, reps in training camp, then I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand, but I'm not being paid $1 million to be a coach, so.
Or whatever Mike Tomlin's being paid, $4, $5, $6 million a year.
Exactly.
So
the one thing that I did take away from the game, a lot of penalties on the Steelers.
It's like I said, sloppy football.
Okay. I mean, there were how many false starts? There was quite a few false starts.
There were 5 or 6 false starts just in the first half alone. Right? And that was supposed to be the first string offense.
Yeah, that's they got to clean that up.
Clean that up. Okay, so the string of penalties, and it wasn't just this game.
Okay.
It's been every single game. The Steelers are in double-digit penalties.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 11 penalties for 95 yards.
Double-digit. And I think they were
for the last game.
Yeah, that's what I mean, against the Lions. Against the Lions.
Yeah.
We won that game 19-6.
9.
Oh, God, that's even worse.
Got another field goal.
So, I mean, hey, Boswell got to work out? All right, cool. But you struggled against the frickin' Lions?
That's not good. Look what they put as the field.
More game info at... yeah, it still hasn't changed online or anything. It's still listed as the other field name.
That's funny.
So, I wonder if the season tickets, like the season ticket holders, right? When you get your tickets, if it's going to say Azure on it or if it's still going to say Heinz Field on it. Yeah.
I don't know.
That'll be
Probably going
interesting.
to say AccuSure.
Probably.
Anyway,
However,
we're getting back on
but we're
track.
still talking about the Steelers. There was a long, huge laundry list of players that were released by the Steelers because today, Tuesday...
they had to put out the 53-man roster.
Yes, the 53-man roster was released. So, I have a few questions. One of them regarding the wasting of a 7th-round draft pick on a quarterback who didn't get a single rep in any of the preseason games or anything. Why did you waste a draft pick on somebody who didn't even see the field?
Right. Why? And we didn't need another quarterback.
And you didn't even get to trade him. You just released him.
Right. So, again, why did you waste that pick? Who could have we gotten in the 7th round? Could we have gotten a decent player?
I mean, you could always get somebody or something.
The 7th round is not that far down in the draft, correct?
The 7th round is where Mr. Irrelevant comes from. And the quarterback that they selected...
Then I was wrong.
Right, yeah. Their quarterback that they selected, Chris Oladokum, it was pretty much about 20 picks shy of Mr. Irrelevant.
Okay.
So,
Never mind then. I thought there were more like 20
now,
rounds.
there used to be, back in the day, there used to be like 14 rounds, I think.
Okay.
13 or 14 rounds or something like that there used to be in the
There's
draft.
less teams.
Yeah, there were less teams. Somewhat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was less teams somewhat. I mean, there wasn't quite. I think there was 28 teams back then.
It's 32 now?
Yeah, 32 now. Yeah. So, but the list of players that the Steelers have released, nothing really jumps out at me.
Nobody that you expected to make it that didn't?
Correct. In fact, most of the guys on the list of players that didn't make it, with a few exceptions, like Ulysses Gilbert, finally, he didn't make it, finally. Like, geez, really? And Henry Mondu didn't make it either.
What position was he, do you know?
Yeah, defensive line.
Oh, okay.
But as expected, Pittsburgh selected a linebacker, I believe, from Texas. I think that's where he was from. And he actually was the transition player from linebacker to defensive line.
Okay.
Because they pick one of those guys every year. So the guy they picked was... I think this is who this guy is DeMarvin Leal.
Okay.
Unless he was a pickup, a free agent pickup. If he was, I can't. I'm blanking on it on the name.
He did go to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2002, third round pick 84.
Yeah. Okay. So he's not the transition player. There was a linebacker that Pittsburgh drafted this past season, in like the 5th round, and I'm blanking on his name. And I thought he was going to be the transition player.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see.
Draft picks.
I just need a list. I don't want to know.
Right. Well, one draft pick definitely made it, and that was the wide receiver draft pick of George Pickens.
I saw him catch a couple. He did a pretty good job.
Right, and so did Calvin Austin.
Okay.
So those are the 2 receivers that we picked in the 2nd and 3rd rounds.
So our picks were obviously Kenny Pickett, which you just mentioned, George Pickens, DeMarvin Leal. That's the one from Texas we were just talking about.
So he was drafted this past season.
Yeah, he was.
So he was the transition player.
So he's who you thought he was.
Right.
They are who we thought. Never mind.
Well, you said he was drafted in 2002, not 2000.
I'm sorry, I meant 22.
Okay, yeah. So DeMarvin Leal, we drafted him out of Texas.
Right.
Right. I think he played linebacker at Texas.
I don't know. It just says.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Defensive tackle, I think is what that is. DT?
That's what he is now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure if he was that in college. I think he played both.
It's possible.
Right. Okay. Let me see that list.
Ooh, I just closed it.
Of course.
Sorry. We apologize for technical difficulties.
Yes, our crack research staff. I wanted to see who. Yeah, that's who I thought it was.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. DeMarvin Leal. Yeah. But he made the team, so that was rookie number 1 that was drafted.
Okay.
Right. Kenny Pickett made the team.
Right.
He's either number 2 or number 3 quarterback. I'm pretty much assuming he's going to be number 2.
I don't know. They said Mason Rudolph was looking good in the
okay.
preseason, but you know.
Okay. Their 2nd and 3rd round draft picks with George Pickens and Calvin Austin also both made the team.
Right.
Right. Okay. And also their tight end this year, Connor Hayward, made the team.
Well, of course he did.
Right. You know, like, are you catching a theme here or something? You know what I mean?
They just want to have family reunions at the Steelers.
Okay, so here's my problem with some of this stuff here, okay?
Okay.
So Kendrick Green played very well. I liked what I saw out of him, and I liked what I saw out of J.C. Hassenauer. Very much liked what I saw out of them.
Okay.
Okay?
That was it. Right?
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
I knew that's where you were going.
I mean, Mason Cole, Dan Moore Jr., Kevin Dotson, Chooks, James Daniel, and Jesse Davis. What? What are you showing me? You're showing me false starts. You're showing me holding penalties. You're showing me when drives get rolling, you guys make mistakes and things happen and then drives stall.
Yeah.
And then now we're kicking field goals now instead of going for touchdowns.
Yeah, because the one I saw them, they were like within like 10 yards, I think, of scoring a touchdown, and the penalties put them 30 yards out.
Imagine that. Penalties.
Like, really?
You know, do you know what penalties are a sure sign of?
You're going to say bad coaching.
Bad coaching. Any football team, like you look at Bill Belichick's teams.
They're very disciplined.
You look at, like some of the teams from back in the, the really good coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Lombardi, you were in big trouble. You had penalties. So you didn't make penalties.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there was just certain teams where you just didn't.
I think Belichick's a good modern example of that. Everybody's heard about how disciplined his locker room is, and you are not late for a meeting, or.
Or you're not starting.
Right, and so he doesn't
Pretty basic.
I'm not a big Belichick fan. I have some issues with him, but he does know how to have a disciplined team.
So, to create a structure to be a good football team and a good football coach, yes. But his methods are pretty greasy, some of them.
Some of them are.
Yeah, so, but give credit to where credit's due. I mean, the guy he put together 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, in a very short time.
In a very short time. So, and cranked them off with the same quarterback.
Yes.
All right. Props to you. Okay? I mean, yeah. But, you know. Guys that weren't re-signed, Joe Hayden.
Eric do you feel about that?
He might come back. We might see him back because he still hasn't been picked up by anybody else.
Okay. What about Eric Ebron?
Yeah, I'll see you.
Okay.
With Connor Hayward making the team and Pat Freiermuth and Zach Gentry, we're pretty much good at tight end. I mean, but all them guys are the size of or bigger than Gronk.
Good.
So, works for me. If you can catch the ball and run over people, you're all good in my book.
88 was Jesse James' number, too.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
He was a really good tight
end.
Tight end for us, too.
Yeah, because he did catch that dang ball.
That's right. It was a touchdown.
And to quote somebody who says that Jesse James caught that football, that it's been, what are we at now? I think 1,600 or close to 1,700 days now since. There's a guy on Twitter that his Twitter handle is Jesse James caught the ball.
Gotcha.
So, and he puts out, it's been 1,672 days since Jesse James caught the ball. Yeah, right? Like, so, all right, cool.
There's some dedication.
I mean, that's dedication there, man, But when you have a handle like that, I guess you have to be dedicated to that. You got to keep that running total. So I was cautiously optimistic about the Steelers' chances preseason with a preseason show that we did with 5-Star Radio with 5-Star Matchup. And by the way, go check out 5-Star Matchup, man. One of the best Steelers YouTubers out there, man. You got to go check him out on YouTube, 5-Star Matchup. And I was much more optimistic than cautious. But now I'm going to have to swing back the other way and be more cautious than optimistic.
You have been crushed.
I have been crushed because of what I've seen this preseason. Yes, they've won all the games, but I'm not getting warm and fuzzies.
The pants aren't giving you hope, huh?
No, the pants aren't giving me hope either.
Sorry, it's an old joke.
No, they're not. With it, and I even said it I even said it right off. If the offensive line doesn't come together in camp, and they don't gel and become a unit, then this is going to be a long season. And guess what? It's going to be a long season.
Do you think they have some time to get that together, or are they?
Well, I'll tell you, when you open up at Cincinnati,
the Super Bowl losing Cincinnati.
But you open at Cincinnati, and then week 2 is home at New England.
Yeah.
Then, wait, hold on. It gets even juicier. Because week 3 is Cleveland. That's going to be a tough game.
Really?
That's going to be a tough game.
Okay.
For Pittsburgh.
Okay. Why? Explain.
Because Cleveland has a pretty good defensive line. And their linebacking core is pretty good too.
So if the O-line can't get it together, they're going to be...
So you got, just like you said, hey, how many weeks do you have time to get it together? 0. Game 1 at Cincinnati. Game 2 home to New England.
Right.
So I guess... if you don't have it together after those first 2 weeks, it's not going to really matter the next 2 weeks because you got your at Cleveland and then home to New York
Right.
Jets. So if you don't have it together after New England, it ain't gonna matter
Right.
because you got Cleveland and then the Jets.
And then the Bills. Oh.
Right. Then the Bills. That's gonna be an ouch. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's going to be painful.
And then you got your bye week. So, you know what? And now that I'm looking at this now, right? So we got 6 games, the first 6 games of the season. Maybe, fingers crossed, 3-3?
It's possible.
You know, shooting off a rocket and having it explode at just the right time to give you that perfect firework is also possible. Winning the lottery is also possible.
Yeah, okay.
But 3-3,
Would you be happy with 3-3?
I would be shocked at 3-3 because, okay, so after the bye week, then you have you got. Oh no, wait, no, that's not even the bye week. You got the Dolphins next, and then the Eagles.
Okay.
So you got 2 really tough games right at the start, and then 2 really tough games right after that. Then 2 really tough games right after that. Then 2 really tough games right after that.
And then you get a break.
And then you get a break, right? Week 9, you get a break. Then 2 tough games after the break. Yeah, okay.
Maybe you get a break around then.
Maybe.
Around the end of November, you get a
The
little...
beginning of December with the Colts and the Falcons, maybe a little break there.
Maybe, depending. We don't know.
Hey, you don't know. Then you got, the Ravens. Then welcome Baker Mayfield. When we get out and play against them in Carolina, then, hey, here comes the Raiders.
Yay.
And then the Ravens, and then the Browns, and then the Seahawks, and the Jaguars. And the final game of the season is against Detroit Lions. Man, I don't know about you guys.
How do we not play the...
No, wait, no. Those are... The final game of the season is the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, I thought that was...
Yeah.
We should...
The Seattle, the Jacksonville, and the Detroit Lions were the preseason games. So, anyway. Final game of the season is Week 18 against Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, we always play the Browns on the last game.
Or Ravens, or...
Right.
But... Not getting the warm fuzzies anymore. Now, I am going to say this. If you're gonna do it, then just go ahead and do it.
What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're referring to.
If you'd like to just go ahead and remove your helmet, just go ahead.
What?
When
the Mandalorian?
No, not the Mandalorian. No. When Shumi was the Stig.
Oh, okay.
Right. And he said, well, if you're going to do it, then do it.
Gotcha.
And then he shakes his head, no.
Sorry, we're having a little Top Gear moment.
Yeah, a little Top Gear moment.
If you've never watched Top Gear...
Well, I highly recommend.
Season 6 through 22.
Yeah, there you go. But if you're going to do it, then do it. And what I mean by that is pull the trigger and start Kenny Pickens right from day one.
Yeah, they got to give Trubisky a chance. He's the more seasoned quarterback. He's got the... he's been in a game before, in an NFL game. They have to give him the chance. If he doesn't prove himself, then...
So that's my point. If you're only going to give Trubisky... all right, so Cincinnati, let's just say, hypothetical. Let's throw some hypotheticals out there.
I didn't study those.
I know. You studied rhetoricals.
Right.
Anyway, so suppose hypothetically we lose against Cincinnati and Trubisky just throws 3 interceptions and has a wretched, horrible game.
Okay.
So now New England comes into town for the home opener. Are you starting Kenny Pickett or are you starting Trubisky?
You're starting Trubisky. Kenny Pickett is not ready to play against the Patriots. We'll take a bet. How's that?
I don't know. I don't bet on things like that. I don't bet. I'm not a betting person.
Okay.
Okay? But if you lose the first game and he plays bad, now you're looking at, all right. So now New England comes into town and he gets destroyed because he's running for his life.
Didn't he play the Patriot when he was on the Bears? Did he ever play the Patriots then? I can't remember. I don't follow their schedule close enough to know.
No, but he was playing up against when he was with Buffalo.
Okay.
Right, so he was on Buffalo last year, and they play the Patriots twice.
Okay.
All right, so he at least has seen New England.
Right.
Okay, but if he's running for his life and getting sacked, and he's not throwing the ball downfield, and he's not, you know what I mean? Like, that's not winning us a game if he's getting sacked.
Right. So you think by the time we get to the Browns, we're going to be seeing Kenny?
Well, it would be about the best time to put him in because it's the Browns and then the Jets. Right? And it'll at least give him his feet wet a little bit.
Right.
But see, then here's the thing. Now you put Kenny Pickett in and he plays okay against Cleveland but loses. Plays okay against the Jets but loses.
Let me throw another scenario at you. You ready?
Uh-huh.
We have the same first two games Trubisky tanks, right? They put Mason in against the Bengals. And he does fairly well and wins the game. I'm sorry, the Browns, excuse me. Now what do you do?
Okay. So I don't think I don't.
You don't think Mason's going to play?
He's either going to be... I don't think they're going to put him on the practice squad. I think they're going to bring back this Oladokin guy and keep him on the practice squad, and they're going to trade Mason. And they're going to roll with Trubisky and Pickett. And then whatever they get, trade for Mason.
What happens if you get two quarterbacks hurt and don't say it doesn't happen because we had that situation?
Guess we're on the market. Normally, Pittsburgh goes with three quarterbacks. If they don't trade Mason Rudolph, they're going to go with three quarterbacks, and one of them is going to be not dressing. And the one that's probably going to be wearing the Caesar salad is going to be Mason Rudolph.
Okay.
Right, because he's not dressing.
Yeah, I got it.
Anyway. Yes, he writes his own stuff. Anyway, I don't see a scenario where Mason sees the field this year unless there's an injury.
Okay.
Does that make any sense to you?
It does.
I think, because based off of what you said for your scenario,
yeah,
I don't think that scenario exists. I think you're either going to have Trubisky or Pickett. I don't think Mason's going to factor into unless there's an injury to any one of those two guys.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I disagree, but we'll see.
Okay. I mean, it's all three of them made the team, so hey, we're going to see what happens.
All right.
And Lord help us. Because we're going to need all the help we're going to get. Oh, boy. Speaking of needing help. Oh, boy. God, I don't even know how to say this. But I think the Flyers need some help.
Yeah, let's not even just... Oh, the Flyers.
So Hayden Hodgson signs a 2-year deal just the other day.
Okay.
And Linus Högberg to a one-year deal. And Wade Allison re-signs as well, too. All three of these players all signed deals worth under $900,000.
Is that to save cap room or because they're not worth very much?
I don't know. How's that for an answer? I have no flippin' clue. Why are you signed? Now, the Wade Allison one, I can understand.
Well, we traded for him, didn't we?
No. But hopefully, if he can remain healthy,
okay.
He's the guy that had the high ankle sprain all year last year.
Okay.
But, man, when he's on the ice and he's just out there I want him on the team. But I just want him to be healthy and being available.
Okay.
So I would much rather you be healthy and available than hurt and not. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're not showing me any potential when you're sitting up in the press box.
And we're paying you to sit in the press box.
Right. So all these other guys, Hayden Hodgson and Linus Högberg, I think are all Phantoms guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I don't get it. I mean, some of these guys, I don't understand.
When does training camp start again?
I believe training camp starts the beginning of, or the middle of September.
Okay.
Okay. Because the all-rookie game against the New York Rangers is on the 17th this year for the Flyers.
Okay.
Right. So I believe the training camp starts like that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, yeah. It's coming up real soon, right?
Yeah.
Like within 2.5 weeks, training camp first, all rookie game is going to be happening on the 17th, right? That's in 18 days of this recording. So, that's a very short period of time.
Right.
Okay. So, like I said, training camp just a couple weeks away. Tortorella has already come out and said the training camp's going to be tough. He's already come out and said that strap on your boots or your skates or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, be ready.
Be ready because it's going to be work.
Good. They need it. They need somebody to push them and
crack the chair, throw a trash can, something. Can you do something?
Get their attention, maybe.
I mean, because clearly benching guys isn't working.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to do something a little bit more drastic than just benching them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to be part of the...
They can only do so much, but, there's rules they got to follow, and...
Okay, well, if you don't want to be part of the system or whatever, then why are you still part of the team or whatever? Why can't you be waived or traded or whatever the case is?
I don't know.
Anywho, some players were brought in, and there's still some holes that need to be filled.
They need help.
I'm shocked at the fact that they're going for the goaltending situation the way it currently is. I am utterly shocked. Now, they were handed a pretty tough blow with Ivan Fedotov in that whole situation, but there are serviceable Stanley Cup winning goaltenders available that you could grab right now that would be a better backup goaltender than what you got now. That would have come at the same price at the guys that you got now.
Right.
And that doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I'm so utterly frustrated with this team and so utterly frustrated with the management of this team.
A lot of people are very frustrated with them. They don't make decisions that make sense.
Okay, so I'm not the only one then.
No.
Okay, I mean, I try to look at this optimistically. I really do. I'm trying to see the logic behind we're only one or two guys away from... And I'm just not being able to see through it. Anyway. So much for that.
Well.
Gonna be a long year for them Flyers, I believe.
It's gonna be a long fall for SteelFlyer fans.
Not necessarily. I think we'll be...
But there's always some racing you could watch.
Yeah!
Until November.
And isn't that just really great? Right? We get to watch the Ferrari team make mistake after mistake and throw away race after race.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not better.
Yeah, so it's just not getting any better, is it? Wait, Penn State hasn't played a game yet? There's some hope!
So...
If the big EL were here, he'd be talking about Go Tide! Or no, he'd be Roll Tide!
There you go.
Right, anyway, so... F1. The guys coming back from the summer break, they take a mandatory 3-week. Okay, you can't even go to the factory. You can't have a meeting. You can't touch the cars.
Right.
Stuff has to collect dust for 3 weeks. Go away.
Such a nice change from our perception of the workforce in
the United States.
Yeah, where it's, how dare you take a day off? And
like you're ostracized if you want to take a day off.
And they're like, yeah, take 3 weeks off. Don't even come in. Just go away for 3 weeks.
Yeah, like turn everything, no cell phones, no laptops, no, just go on vacation for 3 weeks.
Anyway.
All right. Okay. So, they go on vacation for 3 weeks, and they come back to Spa-Francorchamps.
You did it.
I have to. This is one of my most favorite tracks. It has some of the best turns in Formula One. It is also one of the fastest tracks on the calendar, and is also one of the longest tracks on the calendar.
Those laps were long.
It's a 4.163 mile long track, so that's why there was only 44 laps. Mm-hmm. Where most tracks are between 60 and 70 odd laps.
Right.
Because they're only between 2.5 to 3 mile long. So, you know what I mean.
There was, 2 accidents in this race?
So let's start off with the fun beginning. Good gravy.
Lewis went over the car.
Wait, no, hold on. We're going to go back even further by a group of drivers, Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris, Verstappen, Leclerc, all had major grid penalties for changing engine parts and pieces and stuff, so they all pretty much started at the back of the grid.
Right.
So that pretty much is setting up the story now by me saying that Verstappen was at one of the back positions in the grid and Leclerc was in one of the back positions of the grid, and all right, great. Which leaves the front of the grid open now for the likes of other drivers to get in.
Okay.
So Sianz gets a de facto pole because Verstappen goes fast, but because of his penalty,
he can't be in pole.
Goes to the back of the line. Carlos Sainz for Ferrari. Hey, wins pole!
All right!
De facto pole. All right, I'll take it. It's still pole. He gets to start on the front row. He led for the first, 12 laps?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, and then that was it. Right? Because by that time, Verstappen had caught up.
Right.
What does that tell you right there? Within 12 laps, Verstappen had caught up. And he was pretty much too fast for the rest of the field. And, of course, he wins.
Of course.
With Ferrari getting 3rd and 6th. Sainz getting 3rd, Leclerc getting 6th. Now, as you spoke previously about Sir Lewis and his little second lap tussle with Alonso.
It was weird, man. Like, his tire just caught his tire and he went flying.
Yeah, so usually when you put tire to tire on an open-wheel racing Formula One car, that usually will sky a vehicle.
I'm sure.
Quite easily, because they're not that heavy, really. And they're pushing close to 1,000 horsepower, so, I mean, let's face it. It wouldn't take much to sky one of those cars.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happened. And bouncing very hard, Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes was out after that little tussle with Alonso.
Oh, poor Lewis.
Alonso was able to continue on and was able to finish in the points. I believe he was 7th. He started.
No, he was. Esteban was 7th.
Okay, 8th was Alonso.
Alonso was 5th.
5th. Okay, so he finished ahead of Leclerc. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, but at one point he was 2nd or 3rd.
Right.
Yeah. So, but man, Alonso going to be driving for Aston Martin next year. That's going to be, woo! Aston Martin going to be a pretty tough team for next year. Anyway, Lewis out after the 2nd lap, and then not long after that, his ex-teammate Bottas was out. So those two guys were out. He's now driving for Alfa Romeo. But yep, Verstappen wins the race, and there you have it.
Yeah, there was an issue with Leclerc and the pit crew and pulling tape off his car and.
Well, there was a sensor that failed on his car that forced him to speed in the pit lane, which then caused a penalty to be assessed for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
So that is a position potentially.
Yeah, they need to get it together, I guess.
I have a feeling that after this year, because they actually have a car.
I mean,
the car is good.
How many times has Leclerc been in pole and been leading, and his car, or you had the issues with the pit stop or something, and it throws him off.
Same thing with Sianz.
Yeah,
Sianz has been up there, and it's been and then they've had something where there was a crappy pit stop or crappy strategy or whatever, right. And now suddenly they're not in the lead anymore.
Right.
So there's been a couple races that have been thrown like that from Ferrari. So you get it together here, come on, let's smack.
We'd like to state that SteelFlyers will not actually smack anyone at any time.
Ever. Except maybe himself.
Well, that doesn't
upside
count.
the head.
Oops, upside your head.
Anyway, so with that said, we would like to thank Spreaker for all of their great help and all of their great work that they do to allow us to get the SteelFlyers podcast on all of the great podcasting platforms. We would also like to say a big, huge thank you to Smokin' Pickles.
Love Smokin' Pickles.
For being... Listen, I got to tell you guys something straight out, okay? If you're local to the central Pennsylvania area, you got to go to a place called Smokin' Pickles, and you will just have some of the best pulled pork, just the best. I mean, it's a
really good burgers.
They have dry-aged burgers, dry-aged steaks. I mean, just, you can buy them, like you can buy the steaks right there and take them home and grill them. You can get cryovac, portions of stuff and sausage, homemade sausage, and
everything's made in house.
Everything's made in house.
I mean, Pennsylvania preferred
products.
Local farms.
Yeah, it's all local farms. It's farm to table. So man, you got to be checking out Smokin' Pickles, man, because I'm here to tell you, they will definitely take care of the craving if you got a craving for some pulled pork, man, because you got to go there. They even make their own homemade pickles. That's why it's called Smokin' Pickles. So you got to go check them out. Anyway, thank you to the delightful and lovely Ronies.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you guys all watching us and checking us out and listening, for sure. Just remember, folks, stay safe, stay strong, and hang tough.